11 times Russian troops attempted to attack the positions of Ukrainian defenders in the south Slobozhansky direction. Fighting took place in the direction of Rubizhne, Staritsia and Chuhivka. At the same time, in the Kupiansk direction, Russian troops did not conduct offensive operations. Viktor Tregubov is with us now on a live link. He is the spokesperson for the Joint Forces Grouping. Greetings to you, Mr. Viktor.
Greetings to you. Glory to Ukraine.
Glory to the heroes. What is the situation as of 9:27 in the area of the Joint Forces Grouping? And regarding the Kupiansk direction, I have finished with the General Staff report. Why, in your opinion, are they not conducting any offensive actions there? Rotations? Not enough forces?
In fact, the situation in our area of responsibility as a whole is quite intense. I looked at the statistics of destroyed Russians this morning, and it eventually exceeded 300. Moreover, the majority of them are 200 killed in action. And that is a large number for us. Usually it was up to 250, approaching 300, but here it has jumped over that. That is a lot. Despite the fact that right now, perhaps the intensity might have decreased in certain directions, overall it has not dropped. It just represents a sin wave for us, where if on some day there is nothing in one place, it will most likely be in another direction. It's just that the Russians need forces somewhere to regroup, to somehow organize their logistics so that they can try to conduct active operations again later. If we are talking specifically about the Kupiansk direction, it consists of two directions that can simply be separated and analyzed individually. One is the western bank of the Oskil River, and there for the Russians, well, let's say it's not very easy. They are trying one way or another from the north, from their bridgehead that they have on the western bank, to enter the city itself directly from the north through Holubivka. But there is a rather elongated strip, first of their control zone, and then a gray zone. And along this entire strip, Ukrainian strikes are being carried out quite effectively, despite the fact that this strip was shortened just recently. You have likely seen the news. Well, it was published by us with a slight delay, which was necessary to maintain operational security. But nevertheless, even if you look at the deep state map, you will see that the Russian strip on the western bank of the Oskil is extremely narrow, and they have to run along this narrow path directly into the city itself.
Yes, we are having connection problems. We will restore it now. We are just talking about the situation in the Kharkiv region. We were just focusing on the Kupiansk direction. Viktor Tregubov was talking about the pressure from the enemy, as well as our pressure on the enemy. And I'm being told that the connection has been restored. Mr. Viktor, please continue. Yes, so in this narrow sector, yes, a battle took place.
Yes, and if we take the eastern bank of the Oskil River, the situation there is a bit different because there is our bridgehead, which the Russians themselves are also trying to compress, trying to shrink, and where logistics are not very simple. Nevertheless, all Russian breakthroughs in the center of this bridgehead towards Opine-Vuzlov are currently being successfully contained. Therefore, yes, the Russians need some time to restore their offensive capabilities right now. But this direction, it does not cease to be relevant. Unfortunately, it does not cease to be active, even though for the Russians, it, in my opinion, no longer holds any real value. It still holds some great PR value for them, political value after their great disgrace.
Tell me, what is the situation in the direction of Borova? How does it differ from the Kupiansk direction?
Well, in the direction of Borova, in general, let's say the front is not moving very much. The demarcation line is not changing much. If you compare it with the Kupiansk direction, then Borova is actually relatively stable. There are also certain counterattacks there, sometimes successful, but, well, let's say the nature of the change in the demarcation line there is not as noticeable. Nevertheless, well, on the whole, I would say that we are still holding on. Well, Borova is being held quite well. There are good units there, and they don't have problems with either supplies or personnel. So in that regard.
Actually, the Institute for the Study of War reported just recently about our counterattacks in some directions of the Kharkiv region. From what can be shared, where are we managing to, well, push the enemy back, and what positions are they in, considering their replenishment of personnel and availability of equipment?
North of Kupiansk and somewhere in the Lyman direction. In general, the situation for the enemy is, well, ambiguous because the enemy is carrying out two different tasks in our area of responsibility. In the Lyman direction specifically, they are trying to advance towards Lyman itself, to take control of the Lyman direction itself, unsuccessfully, but they really want to. That's where it's truly needed. That task is relevant there. If they want to reach the Sloviansk-Kramatorsk agglomeration, then they really need to do this. And the other task, well, if we don't count Kupiansk, which we already discussed, is the creation of a control zone in the immediate border area. The task is actually strategically, well, let's say outdated, because it was set 3 years ago and was set exclusively, let's say, in a voluntaristic manner. After the Kursk operation, a task was set. Let's create a 20-kilometer control zone so that Ukrainians could not penetrate into the territory of the Russian Federation. Of course, nothing came of this, but the task still stands, and they are trying, one way or another, to create penetration zones along the border and take control of some gray zones. Well, you can just see from the deep state map, by comparing the deep state map now and 3 years ago, how successful that is. Spoiler, not very successful, but there are unfortunately some small zones of control for the Russians that have appeared nonetheless. Well, in particular in the Veliki Burluk direction, there in the area of Artilne, and in particular in the southern Bu direction north of Bili Kolodias. But honestly, the Russians are just engaging in incredible amounts of map redrawing in the southern Bu direction. In other words, they do have zones of penetration, but they are exaggerating them, well, really by 5 times.
Tell me, are you noticing any specific features in the Vovchansk direction in recent weeks?
Not in the Vovchansk direction specifically. The Russians' attempts to advance towards Vovchansky Kutori continue there, but again, I could have given you the same answer a year ago.
Understood. Guided aerial bombs. In our previous conversations, you mentioned that the enemy uses them quite a bit, especially when they can't take certain positions by storm. What about the frequency and dynamics of KAB usage currently?
It's not decreasing, it's even growing a little. And we need to understand that this is most likely how it will be. I think until the beginning of next year. Now, at the beginning of next year, if we have changes regarding aviation, and I'm stepping outside my area of responsibility here, but since the topic has come up, if we get new aircraft and new air-to-air missiles that allow us to push the Russians further back from the front line, specifically the Russian planes, then the situation there will most likely start to change somehow. But right now, unfortunately, KABs, guided aerial bombs, remain a problem. And it's good, most likely, that there is a possibility to make them even more inaccurate than they already are. But nevertheless, they will still land somewhere and cause damage somewhere.
Thank you, Mr. Viktor, for joining the conversation. Viktor Tryhubov was on the line with us. He is the spokesperson for the Joint Forces grouping. Thank you. At the front, the most fighting over the past day took place in the Pokrovsk direction. There, the enemy attacked our positions 36 times. In the Kostiantynivka direction, which is also in the Donetsk region, our defenders repelled 23 enemy assaults and stopped Russian attacks on the Lyman and Sloviansk sectors of the front. In the Kharkiv region, the enemy unsuccessfully pushed in the areas of Kozakalopan, Hoptivka, Rubizhne, Staritsia and Dovhenka. In the Zaporizhia region, specifically the Huliaipol direction, there were 3 battles.